We begin tonight with the Delphi murders trial. Heartbreaking insights into what may have happened in Abby Williams and Libby German's final moments. An investigator testifying today to blood marks on Libby's eyes consistent with tears. That moment, stirring tears inside the courtroom from Libby's grandmother. Thanks for inviting us in. It's now 11 o'clock. DNA and blood spatter were the focal points in court today. The science of solving crimes, and this one more complicated than most. Our Emily Longnecker was in the front row during today's testimony, and she joins us tonight from Delphi to break down the biggest takeaways from day 9. And I want to warn you, some of the details that you're about to see in this story are hard to hear.
Today's testimony came from two different witnesses. The first testified about DNA found at the crime scene. The second was an expert on blood pattern analysis who testified about what he called a voluminous amount of blood, most of it, he said, belonging to Libby German, that was found at different spots around the crime scene. Major Pat Cicero testified he believes Abby Williams died in the same spot where she was attacked, saying there was no blood on her hands, something he said he'd never seen before, calling it, quote, very unusual. Cicero said Libby German was likely attacked close by, but at one point was, quote, moving and basically walking in blood. Cicero told the jury he believes Libby bled to death a short distance away from where she was first attacked, based on the large amount of blood in one spot. Cicero said Libby was later dragged a short distance close to a large tree, perhaps to try and make it harder to spot her body. Cicero also testified he believed Libby left a bloody handprint shaped like an upside-down L on one of the trees. His testimony and photos from the crime scene led to several jurors looking away. When Cicero testified that markings near Libby's eyes were consistent with tears, Libby's grandmother put her head in her hands and wept. Cicero told the jury it's possible one person killed the girls, but on cross-examination said he couldn't rule out that more people were involved. The state's DNA expert, Stacey Bozanovsky, told the jury she tested clothing from Abby and Libby found at the murder scene, skin cells from under their fingernails, and the blood from the crime scene. She testified she also tested several items from Richard Allen's home, like his blue Carhartt jacket, carpet from his car, knives, and the unspent cartridge found between the girls' bodies. Her conclusion, quote, Richard Allen's DNA was not found anywhere at the crime scene, including on the cartridge that the prosecutor claims came from one of Allen's guns. And Abby and Libby's DNA was not found on any of the items taken from Allen's home after investigators served a search warrant. On cross-examination, the defense asked Bozanovsky about hair from the crime scene, some the lab held onto to possibly test at a later date. Bozanovsky said the decision was made to not test them at this time. Defense attorney Jennifer O'Jay said, quote, but this is the time. Richard Allen is now on trial. After the jury was dismissed for the day, the state brought in a motion for new evidence, Google search history. They didn't say what that Google search history entailed. The defense said that Kathy Allen is prepared to testify about this motion. In Delphi, Emily Longnecker, 13 News.
And tonight, our legal analyst, Katie Jackson Lindsay, is weighing in on all these developments in court today. During our Delphi debrief on WTHR Plus, I asked Katie about the fact that investigators didn't find any of Richard Allen's DNA at the crime scene.
Well, I think it's remarkable and it's significant for sure, because that's a win for the defense, right? But it might not necessarily be a loss for the state because they didn't find unknown male DNA of some other mystery person either. So undoubtedly, we will see them argue in closing arguments, hey, Richard Allen's DNA is not there, but there's also no other person's DNA there that's not accounted for. And so therefore, the killer arguably just was able to pull this off without leaving any DNA behind.
You can see more from our Delphi debrief right now. It's on WTHR Plus. That's our free streaming app. This is an in-depth look at this big trial. Bob Siegel, Emily Longnecker, Katie Jackson Lindsay, and myself breaking down the major developments from the courtroom weeknights at 10 p.m. You can stream this show on demand, and you can get it on Apple TV, Amazon Fire Stick, and Roku. Angela?
Scott, a mild Monday night. We're as cool as 57 in Richmond, but southerly flow of air really kicking in across the western part of the state. We have 70 degrees right now, 11 o'clock, late October, in Terre Haute. In Indianapolis, it's 62, 64 Bloomington, and 64 degrees in Lafayette. Temperatures will stay mild overnight. We'll start our Tuesday in the low to mid 60s. Sunrise is at 8:10. Nothing weather-wise to slow you down out the door tomorrow morning. Near record high temperatures tomorrow. We'll discuss that and a rain chance in your forecast.
All right, Angela, we'll see you in a little bit. Tonight, for the first time, we are seeing video of a police shooting on the east side of Indianapolis. This gunfire captured on a doorbell camera nearby. Investigators are telling us it started with a carjacking, a man holding a woman at gunpoint. Our Logan Gay went back to that scene today to talk to neighbors about the scary moment Sunday. Logan?
Scott, the video the neighbor sent us is about 2 minutes and 29 seconds long. It gives us a new perspective on what exactly happened yesterday near 10th and Sherman. This video given to 13 News from a neighbor's doorbell camera shows the exact moments police fired at a suspect who allegedly carjacked a woman at gunpoint, then made her drive around. That drive took the woman by some officers she told police she'd seen earlier in the day. They were in the area investigating a theft. That's when she took a chance. You see her stop her car and get out. Police tell 13 News she told officers she was being held at gunpoint by a man she didn't know. IMPD Chief Chris Bailey says his officers were in the right place at the right time.
It's pretty cut dry what happened here. Our officers were here on a theft report and violence came to them.
In the video, you can hear an officer telling the suspect to put his hands up.
Put your hands up!
IMPD says the suspect instead pointed a handgun in the direction of nearby officers. Police say that is when an officer fired their weapon, hitting the suspect at least once before using a taser on him. Officers then reportedly took the gun from the suspect's hand and removed him from the vehicle. The suspect was taken to the hospital in critical but stable condition.
It's very emotional. Anytime an officer is involved in an officer-involved shooting, I mean, there's a lot of emotions that go on in addition to the process that they have to go through when they're involved in a shooting. So you can imagine it's an emotional day for them. It's an emotional day for the victim in this case.
All of this unfolding in the middle of the afternoon, around the time Melissa Smith was making a run to the Dollar General store a block away. She didn't hear the shots, but saw the heavy police presence.
All I seen was taped off. So I was like, oh, Lord, I was hoping that nobody get killed or they weren't robbing the store I was trying to go in.
Smith says it's surprising to find out it was a carjacking, something she says she doesn't hear about often in the area. She says thinking about it makes her a little nervous.
They just can run up and jump in with you. Makes you kind of want to ride with your doors locked.
IMPD said they did find a handgun at the scene, and no one else, including the woman in that car, was hurt. The officer who fired the weapon is on administrative leave. That is standard procedure for IMPD after a police shooting.
It was heartbreaking to see. This is their home, their things are gone, and that's heartbreaking.
Tonight, there is a push to help the Indiana veterans displaced when a massive fire hit HVAF of Indiana. I want to show you the devastating scene on Saturday night. This is at the organization's facility near 10th in Pennsylvania. The CEO tells 13 News the damage is catastrophic. This big fire displaced 48 veterans, and it's been really hard finding them places to stay. But tonight there's a commitment to make it happen, finding available hotel rooms and bringing donations to help all those who served our country. It's just going to take time.
Most of it is burned. What's not burned is, soaked heavily with water damage. So, I think recovery is, we're talking about, 18 to 24 months. This is not something that's going to be back online serving veterans in the next week or so.
Tonight, investigators are working to determine what led to that fire. There has been an outpouring of clothes, food, and hygiene items, and now there is an Amazon wish list for people wanting to help these vets. We've got a link for you on WTHR.com.